If I was in the group, I'd be asking everyone, what do you mean this time? This time was a very suspicious thing to set gap. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we're back with another episode of Gnosia. We come back as we normally do with board, some notes, and some comments. So let's go ahead and hop into that board first thing. Where as usual, I have just a pretty short board changelog, as most of the stuff has been added to the board itself. You can see the notes I've made for the characters, the lines that I've written between the characters in the specific loop that happened last time, which was loop 9, where I added Otami, Xiaoming, and Rimnon. I marked Jonas and Xiaoming as the Gnosia and both as frozen, and then I marked Gina as eliminated. Otherwise, pretty successful loop. In fact, so successful, I would think that if there was anybody trying to get out of the loops, that might be the one to do it, right? It's unfortunate that one person died, but in the run of things so far, I think that's been the most successful loop that we've ever seen. So yeah. That said though, like I said, I come with notes, as I always do. Based on the shape of her head, it seems like Otami is a beluga whale, especially with that strap going across the top of her head, which I would have to think is covering her blowhole. In one of the scenes, it looks like the strap goes around like the head, and like there's a tube that goes back from the blowhole. So I assume it's like a whole system. Although oddly, it doesn't seem like the inside of the what do we call it, helmet is filled with water, because we see her cry at one point. Tears of joy or whatever, emotion tears, not sad tears. And you can see the water on the inside. I don't know if that's just a performative effect or what. I would have assumed that there was water on the inside, though. If Stella is just Levi in a human form, then why does Levi ping everyone from the comms when Stella is in the room with everyone? I think I wrote that at the very beginning of the episode, before everything. But still, I guess this might be a nothing note. The element is that it hasn't happened yet since the revelation. And I guess not for nothing, it's only been made to 2 people, and Stella seems to think that other people have recognized this without it being said, so I don't know. And the element that we're always dealing with the first day and onwards, so this might not even be a thing next time. I guess the only way to find out is by finding out. I don't get the point of Xiaoming telling everyone to just vote him out from the start. As he turns out to be the Gnosia, I would have assumed that the point was that he was just pushing things. That if they voted for him and he refused to leave the room, Levi would just blow up the ship. Which is something they consider, but no, when it comes down to it, he just leaves the room and outs himself, and goes into cryo. Just like Chippy did in Loop 7. I don't get the Gnosia that just go quietly. Considering that their want is to kill and infect, is this an element of the original person bleeding through? If so, why only some people and not others? Does this mean that they will always do this when they are the Gnosia? That a perfect endgame scenario would be Chippy, Jonas, and Xiaoming just all giving themselves up in day 1? The only reason I can think of for Jonas to reveal that he was a Gnosia, ironically enough, was for self-preservation. The cryopods only have a 50-50 chance of killing you, as was said before. If they keep waffling about voting for Xiaoming with no ability to get him out of the room, the ship will self-destruct. So better to sacrifice one of the 2 Gnosia rather than lose them both. I mean, that's just a guess. It doesn't it doesn't take into account why he wouldn't try and convince them to just vote for someone else, or the larger meta of what happens when the humans lose and the Gnosia take over the ship, as it must surely self-destruct anyways, right? So maybe self-preservation isn't something that they have anyways. Sorry, I kind of paused there at the end because I was thinking to myself, what if Stella is one of the Gnosia? and they're in a humans lose scenario, is Stella so separate from Levi that the ship wouldn't blow up, or the ship would still blow up? Like, can Gnosia Stella override Levi to prevent the ship from blowing up if Gnosia Stella is one of the winners of this whole thing? I'll put that out there as a thought that I'm having. May not come up ever. Who knows? Well, obviously it'll never come up, because if we're ever in a situation where Stella wins and is a Gnosia, either Yuri has to be a Gnosia in that loop, and that would be the end of the looping, right? Because he just wins, or yeah, I just think it's an impossible scenario, so maybe not worth considering. Not cool, Yuri. You can out yourself, but not others. It's an odd call that you'd reveal your time looping to Stella in order to ensure the universe sees them as human, but it wasn't your place to out Setsu as well. That was their secret to share, and not yours to share. They didn't want to share details with you because you might be a Gnosia. Now, knowing that you'll just blab anything that's said in confidence, I'd think they'd be even less likely to trust you in the future. If not for my persistent theory that the two of them met on the planet and were spending time together before Yuri lost his memory. I think that is entirely based on the coffee comment from episode 1, and it might not be a thing. Actually, I think they've said other stuff too. I just have the theory that it might be that Yuri and Setsu had met in a cafe before the events on the planet where the Gnosia started infecting everybody, and that's why Setsu is there at the beginning of most loops. I don't know. Again, it starts with the coffee comment. Maybe it's nothing, maybe I'm wrong. And my final note, Otami is just a bad judge of character, I think. Sha Ming is not a good person. They killed Gina. Again, the confusing bit of why would the Gnosia reveal themselves or intentionally try to be frozen. They fully seem to have the ability to control themselves outside of the warp, so why would I think that they wouldn't, or why would I think that they would be forced to kill in the warp? It all seems like it's still an element of choice, so I have to think that Sha Ming chose to kill Gina. Right now, I think this is still the biggest mystery of what's going on. We have the meta of collecting information on people for the key, the immediacy of solving for the Gnosia problem loop by loop, but in the middle of all that, figuring out how the Gnosia work to try and take advantage of this. That's why I have the Gnosia slot on the board, to try and see if there's any commonality between all the Gnosia infected and how they act. Like, the Gnosia might be a separate personality, even though I know that the Gnosia is taking over the person, and that person's personality persists, just with the Gnosia overlaid on top of it. But again, like I said, I'm looking for commonalities between them all. Alright, and as I said, we do have comments. First up, we have Sage Bastien from the Patreon from the episode Understand. Basically, if a Gnosia out themselves in the first round for a specific role and you say nothing to claim your role, on the second day, you seem more suspicious if you reveal yourself. Again, here, it's fun to hear the theory, because there is a reason of why stuff can't happen, but I'm pretty sure those will be revealed. Those are crucial to the plot, so I'm 90% sure it will be revealed. And the lie detection, even in the game, work only sometime. It's basically when people realize someone is lying, it's just a visual effect. Likability is not a state you can touch, it is a hidden stat in the game. It's random each loop in the game, basically who like or dislike you. For this strat, you might want to upgrade Charm. And I don't find where does the anime said that it's Levi who gave out the role? Alright, let's address these things one by one. Obviously, I understand what you're saying with the first point about if you don't out yourself on the first day, then outing yourself on the second day makes you look suspicious, but at the same time, I think a normal level of intelligence person would understand why you wouldn't out yourself on the first day. And I think that outing yourself on the first day on a role that everyone thinks is important would be just as suspicious, right? If you're like, I'm the engineer, so I'm gonna do this tonight, and you should be like, if you're the engineer, why are you making yourself a target for the Gnosia, right? You are wasting the engineer credentials because you're probably gonna die now, and we're not gonna get any information that you had. You would have to hope that there was a guardian angel, I guess, to protect that engineer, in which case, you might not know, you might be protecting the Gnosia. I don't know. I just think I would be suspicious of that person. The lie detection thing, yeah, apparently that's been throwing me off. I thought that was a Gina thing, and I was thinking that Gina was like an empath or something, so when they've done the lie thing twice, so I thought it was them. Now it just turns out it's anybody, and I don't know. I don't know what to do with that yet. The likability thing, yeah, I'm familiar. Like I've said plenty of times, I used to play test tabletop games for a tabletop company, or sorry, an RPG company. So I'm familiar with the idea of derived stats. Although it doesn't seem like you're talking about derived stats. It seems like you're talking about just every loop you're automatically assigned somebody who doesn't like you and somebody that likes you or something like that. So I guess if that's the case, then yeah, I guess charm, sure. And you're saying you don't know where in the anime it said that Levi gives out the roles. Well, who else would give out the roles? Here's the problem. There's two options here. I guess technically three if you're going to count Stella and Levi as two different things. But I'm going to say Levi is the thing here. When we first get the roles, Jonas isn't part of the ship. So the captain isn't giving out the roles. So who's left to give out the roles but the AI that controls the ship? Because they're licenses, right? So, okay, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt here. Maybe they're licenses that are given apropos of any ship, so that anybody could come on a ship and be the engineer. But even if that was the case, the AI would still have to vet you, right? The AI would still have to accept your license on this ship to be able to access its systems. So at some point, there's got to be some acceptance by the ship itself for your role. In this case, I have to believe it's the AI doing it, because the AI is allowing you to use its systems, use its energy, etc. The same way that we've negotiated to not self-destruct immediately, right? So yeah, for me, this isn't a matter of the anime said it or not. This is a things that must have happened, because otherwise, I have no explanation for how this works. So I'm going to work with my explanation until the show says something different. Next up, we have Zavicolo from Nostalgic Flowers. I really love the reaction and the effort put into analyzing every detail, but it's true that in the game we have access to more information. For example, this would be the introductory message that Yuri receives before waking up. In instances in which Gnosia infection has been confirmed, the crew must find a way to reduce the risk level to 0. A method that has been found effective at reducing risk levels is putting those suspected of infection through a procedure known as cold sleep. This allows the crew to use the infected person's use of impersonation to their own advantage, as well as to avoid instances of mass panic that can occur when more aggressive methods are employed for containment. Depending on the crew, military suppression is often used to control infection, but this increases the chance of violence and death, as seen in the Hangupus case, and should not be used when the AI evaluated plan is scored at 0.78 or less. When employing cold sleep, the crew must first be informed that their foremost goal is to utterly reduce risk of infection to 0 by determining those with the highest possibility of infection and systematically putting them into cold sleep with each Schmermpf transfer warp. To achieve this, candidates for cold sleep treatment are to be decided through direct and clear communication between crew members. When infection has been confirmed, AI and embarkation functions are severely limited, so communication must be carried out verbally and face-to-face. This can also help to better see through an infected member's facade. Additionally, upon confirmation of onboard infection, the ship destination is automatically updated via AI to the solar system reachable with the highest number of warps, and with the current ship's resources. If a warp to the target system is executed before the risk level has dropped to 0, the ship will self-destruct via extreme compression. This is, of course, to avoid spreading infection to the target solar system. This process of purification via self-destruction is an unfortunate, yet unavoidable... Sorry, that just didn't read right. Whatever. Achievement or failure of risk eradication will be determined and announced via the ship's AI upon completion of a warp. Additionally, all interstellar vessels not require infection detection, destination designation, and navigation control access restriction, and compression-based self-destruction features as anti-Gnosia protocol. All of this is given in a Star Wars intro fashion and in less than 10 seconds. I appreciate that. Sorry, there's an element in here. Well, one thing, when it's talking about the highest probability of infected, that's something I did talk about in a previous note section, that I felt like the AI could do that better than having these verbal face-to-face conversations between crew members. Like I said, the AI could just make a guess, and make a guess at higher probability due to whatever math that I said before. What is the thing here? The ship's destination is automatically updated via AI to the solar system reachable with the highest number of warps. That's new detail. Granted, this is from the game. It hasn't been said in the show yet, so I don't know if this is viable show information. But that indicates that there is a limited number of days that we can do this test. And granted, that is also limited by the number of people. But the solar system reachable with the highest number of warps, which means if the ship only has enough energy to warp 5 times, it's going to go to the closest system that is 5 jumps away, which means, sorry, there's a minimum thing here. I would say 4 jumps. You have 4 jumps to figure this out. Well, I guess technically you have 5, because it would be 5 jumps. But it's the element that if there is still a Gnosia on board after the 5th jump, and I guess maybe it gives you, I guess it's being generous, it gives you that final day to vote, then it'll self-destruct. So if this is applicable to the show, and again, we don't know if it is yet or not, that means that there is a hidden timer going in the background. And I haven't yet done the math on how many characters are going to be in the show and how many votes that would be at maximum. Because once we do that, maybe next time I do notes, I'll do the math on how many minimum. I'd say probably with 3 Gnosia, because that seems to be the maximum so far. The maximum number of votes that can happen, because that would then give us the number of maximum days. And then if we ever start approaching that maximum number, we can be on the lookout for if the ship is just going to self-destruct at the end of a warp. So that, I think, is the most valuable part of all of that information. So thank you for that. And lastly, we have JL, also from Nostalgic Flowers. It never made it into the game, but apparently one event the writers originally planned to put into the game was one where someone on the ship would be murdered, like actually murdered and not Gnosia'd, and the player would team up with Detective Rockio to investigate who the murderer was and put them into cold sleep. There's other planned but never made events like Stella hosting a dating show. I was about to say dinner show. Hosting a dating show or a cooking competition, so I hope some of them make it into the anime. Seems like Gina would be hosting the cooking competition, not Stella. Although Stella hosting the dating show is also weird now that we know that Stella is Levi. Although I don't know who amongst the crew that I know. Well, I guess Eskew. Eskew would be the one that I would assume would do the dating show thing. Well, I think it makes sense for anime pacing. In the game, Engineer is introduced at the same time as Guardian Angel. Now, Guardian Angel is not always present in the loop with engineers, but I think the mix of Guardian Angel, who will try to protect the engineer, and Gnosia don't want to immediately kill the engineer and give away their own faker spreading misinfo if they aren't many of them, does help explain why some people take the risk. Coming out on day 1 is risky, but the problem is by day 2, usually at least one person is in cold sleep and another killed by Gnosia. So if you say you're the engineer day 2, you're a bit less trustworthy, just because you, in theory, could be someone faking with the knowledge that the real engineer isn't here to doubt their claims. I mean, I get it, but again, it seems to me, here's the problem, I guess, with this scenario, is that if you've played like Blood on the Clock Tower or Mafia, games like this, you know that you're entering into a game, right? You have the element of gamesmanship, what has been done in previous rounds, all that shit. And you know how to meta, right? You know that if you're the engineer, you don't give that shit away. You wait until day 2, and then you let someone else like hang themselves by the noose by claiming false stuff. By claiming false stuff. But here, these are people like literally fighting for their lives without this meta thing. Like, they don't have the well, I guess some of them do now have the background. We know 2 of them are storied gamers, and one of them is a gamer fan, so it's entirely possible that they do know this stuff, so I don't know. I'm just looking at the meta of it. Honestly, that's an anime addition to her and Chappie's story, and I don't much care for it. In the game, he just did it because he was being nice, and also may not have realized the extent of danger her slime could pose. I'm assuming you're talking about, sorry, did I call him Chappie? I meant Chippy. Chippy, smuggling, comet off planet. Sorry, I'm reading JL's comments, and JL's comments are all timestamp responses, which is perfectly fine. If I was just reading the comment, like clicking the links and doing that, that would be a great way. Just with no context of what you're talking about, I have to remember, and my memory is shit. That's why I do the note section. Without the note section on the board, I would forget most of this. Okay, so I was also confused by Yuri asking Stella and Yuriko their motivations, but after rewatching the episode, I think that was actually a bluff. The real crux of their argument is Setsu is confirmed human because either Yuriko is the real engineer and said they are, or Stella is the real engineer, meaning the 2 Gnosia are Chippy and Yuriko, not Setsu. Both Stella and Yuriko could have chosen at random, but if you're the Gnosia engineer, it's riskier to lie about someone and say they're Gnosia when there's so few people left, because now at least 2 people, human engineer and the human you accused, are going to vote for you. But a true engineer would always report truthfully. So there's a higher chance that Stella is the real engineer, not a complete guarantee, but on a meta level, we can see how in the previous loop engineer, Yuriko refused to come forward, and in this loop, she only came out after the fake engineer did, whereas in episode 5, she came out first, suggesting she has a specific engineer playstyle that only changes when she's Gnosia. Yuri also wouldn't know this, but Stella and Yuriko are a high logic characters, like Rakio, so are less likely to make a stupid gambit like lie about a human being Gnosia and create an enemy when there's so few people left, unless everyone already trusted them. I guess that's a example in my benefit then. That Yuriko plays to my style, and she's high logic. I guess the element is that Yuriko must also have other stats that are good, considering that Rakio is also high logic, and they fail all the fucking time. While not a major issue for me, interestingly, the Guardian Angel role managed to somehow be less gamey in the actual game. Firstly, while you know if there's one at the start of the loop, for information purposes, it's not treated as a job in the same way Doctor or Engineer is. Even the name Guardian Angel comes from Stella, who is always the first Guardian Angel in the tutorial. Just saying, oh, it seems like maybe there was some sort of Guardian Angel on board this ship to protect us. The devs later said this was just a name she thought was cute. Sorry, I was just double checking. You said Stella and not Setsu. Also, whilst it does appear as a menu like what Yuri uses in the game, we get the explanation that the angel affects the ship's warp coordinates in some way, which, depending on interpretation, is either like through prayer or sneaking into a control room and messing with something in such a way where you need the room coordinates of the person you're protecting. Still not a perfect/complete explanation, but you know. Yeah, I mean, I could see Yuriko affecting things differently than, say, Setsu, right? Coming out as engineer/doctor day 2 is a valid strategy, but it's got its own risks. If you come out on day 1, it's easier to prove you're definitely the engineer because you're coming out when everyone is present to challenge you. But if it's day 2, usually at least one person was eliminated and another put in cold sleep. And if either one was the real role, that means you could be faking without a challenger. Oh, how horrible. Here's the problem. We are, assuming we are whatever character. Well, I guess no, we're not. Sorry, I was putting myself in the first person perspective on this situation, but you're always going to have a challenger. That's the problem. I think y'all are assuming, and by the way, this is the second time we're having the same conversation about this in this note, but in this comment, rather. That's the element, though, is you're always going to be challenged. If there's one thing Rakio proved to us in the first, 4, 5 loops, they will always challenge us, and if they're always going to challenge us, they're always going to challenge anybody. They're going to apply their logic to anything that's said at any time, and then explain to all of us why it's nonsense. So even if you came out in day 2, I think you'd be challenged. Even if the real engineer was still there, even if the real engineer was dead, I think... I don't know. Obviously, I'm bad at this. I have guessed wrong every goddamn time, so maybe my point of view is skewed. Only the audience/player literally hears the noise, but the noise represents noticing a lie. So in that moment, Comet told a bad lie that a lot of people saw through, but she didn't like making ringing noise. I'll be honest with you, I'm not noticing any ringing noises. I know what you're talking about. The same thing that Gina was constantly doing before. I was recognizing the weird shimmer effect, not so much a ringing noise. But yeah, like I said, the element that it's something that happens to everybody in extreme situations is the real change of the scenario now. But yeah, anyways, that was all of the comments. So nothing left to do really, but to hop on in and see what we get from Loop 10.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
I would imagine it would have been filled up a lot more than that. I mean, I would have figured it would fill up quickly because you're learning a lot of new information quickly as you first meet people. And then it would slow down as you just keep getting the same information over and over again. Sorry, I kind of expected the opening segment there was going to last longer. I don't know, it's a weird quirk here, but I hate talking to the point that the opening actually happens, because I like to leave a little bit of space between the opening and my inane chatter. But yeah, again, I would suspect that it takes not that much for the key to get like half full or more than half full, and then it just becomes harder because then you're starting to pull out secrets and stuff, right? It's real easy to get the stuff everyone wants you to know. It's harder to get the stuff that people are trying to hide intentionally. Like, I imagine that little space I have above the board that's filled with like little tidbits of information about each character is going to actually get really full really quickly, and then it's going to be a bunch of smaller bits of information that are going to contradict themselves, because people are contradictions, right? Also, last time, there was a shot of Gina in the background eating her favorite food, which I can't remember, which I think was like more implicit proof that she was not the Gnosia. And then she's the one who gets killed. And she's the only one specifically doing something that we know is a thing that she likes from previous things. So maybe that was the hint that she was going to die. Guard duty. What the fuck? We started on day 3. Okay, Mel. No longer the 3 Gnosia rule. Why are we skipping?
重道が会議でコールドスリープに選ばれ、その後ジョナスがグノーシアに襲わ
Or
れ
is this to make it harder by just introducing what happened already?
11人が残っている。この中に何人のグノーシアがいるのかはわからない。
Yeah, because now we don't also get the information of who said what during what meeting.
留守番だった人は本当に人間で確定していると考えていいんだよね。
はい、ククルシカ様、レムナン様の2人はルーアン貴公子船外に出ておりませんので、グノーシア汚染の可能性はゼロになります。
What does guard duty actually mean? We never talked about that before.
これがこのループで新たに知った留守
Thank you, Yuri.
1日に1人、特定の1人がグノーシアか人間かを調べられるエンジニア。会議で前日コールドスリープに選ばれた者がグノーシアか人間だったかを調べることができるドクター。1人を選んで空間転移時にグノーシアの襲撃から守ることができる守護天使。そして人間であることが確定している留守番か。どんどん複雑になっていく。
I don't think you finished that sentence, but I think I understood. So an engineer... It can't be some person the doctor confirms, because the doctor can only confirm cold sleep people. So it has to be the engineer, people the engineer confirms. Oh wait, how the fuck does that work? Because if people are lying about who the engineer is, you can't confirm the confirmations. Of course, we're doing a double down thing every time. It lasted the day 3. So they both say he's human.
そうだ、わからない。エンジニアとドクターを名乗り出たのはこの4人。このうち重道は前日コールドスリープになった。その重道をラキオは人間、ジナはグノーシアと判定している。
Oh, sorry, I thought she said that he was human too.
この4人のうち2人はグノーシアであることが確実だ。そのうち1人でも嘘をついていることが分かれば、この4人の誰がグノーシアで誰が人間か。
Unfortunately, Shigemichi would have been the easiest one to detect if he was lying, and he's gone.
え？
そこにいるんだろう。人間様であることが確定している2人が。
Who confirmed, though, if you can't figure out who the engineer is? Or do they start out as confirmed as human?
わからない。でも、なんとなく怪しいのは。
リアリー？待ってよ、どうかしてるぜ。
The weird way he says English words sometimes.
あくまで印象で。
でも、人間が確定してる人がそういう印象を持ったのは事実。
That doesn't mean anything.
おいおい、頭おかしいんじゃねえの。何話進めて。
I guess no one doctor checked Jonas, because we didn't get any information on Jonas being human or Gnosia.
マジかよ。
人間に聞けなんて余計な一言言っちゃったからね。怖い怖い。
でも、決定は決定。
マジかよ。だったら俺にも考えがあるっつうの。
It's not the pipe, obviously.
なんです。僕は何も言って。
すいません。
I mean, it's a tactic. No one's ever begged before.
なんかこういうの見ると踏みつけたくなっちゃう。
Yeah, like I said, SQ is a certain person. I said before, Sha Ming has to be someone's fan favorite, right?
でもクルシカさんの印象だけで根拠はないですよね。
まあ確かに客観的根拠が乏しいのは事実だけどね。
クーズが取るに足れぬものに興味はありません。好きにするがいい。
I can't believe that we're in a scenario where Rockio has survived to day 3.
こいつはご機嫌だな。つうことで明日からもよろしく頼むぜ。
Wait, what?
どうして不満なの？
Somebody has to get cryo frozen.
会議で一人を選んでコールドスリープにする。それがレビトの取り決め
Yeah, well, the ship blows up.
それはそうだけど、実際曖昧なまま選んでしまったせいもあるから。それを言い始めたら、そもそも会議が成り立たない。ルールを破ったら収拾がつかなくなる。そうなったら、また。
We established, like, literally the last one, I think.
少なくとも、僕と説はそうなんじゃないの。でも、その他の人にとっては、ここは唯一
So
無二の
one of us is
世
gonna
界線
sacrifice ourselves?
ここしかないんだ。次があるなんて考えは失礼だよ。ごめん。その通りだ。頭が固いだけかもしれないけど、それが説のいいところだよ。
I mean, I guess this makes sense. It's the thing I was addressing. How does the Gnosia thing even matter anymore?
その言葉、そっくり返すよ。君に。
Yuri's got some stripper shoes.
確かに説の言う通りだ。精一杯。みんなのために頑張
We
る。
didn't freeze anybody. The ship's gonna blow up.
レムの。
少しだけ時間ありますか？
いいけど。ククルシカが？
はい。どうしても一緒にいたいと。
Yeah, double human, right?
レムナンは留守番で人間って確定しているから、頼りたいんじゃないかな。
そうでしょうか。
何か気になるの？
いいえ、ただ苦手なんです。ああいう得体の知れない女の人。
怖いの？
I assume you're talking about Yuri, I forgot her name. The priestess.
でもあの目で見られるとなぜか手が。
You're talking about Kakusha, are you? I guess you were. You're talking about Kakusha.
笑いすぎて苦しいの。
何してるの？
I don't think you had those kind of teeth before, Otome.
話？
ククルシカさん、体の動きでおしゃべりするので。
なんて言ってるの？
一緒に遊びたいと。
So the two confirmed humans aren't getting along, or at least one of them's not getting along with the other.
こういう景色見るのは初めて？
いえ、吉門さんがいろいろ教えてくれたの。でも本物はまだ見たことがなくて、私がいたところ海洋惑星だったから。
そうか。
これ。
あげるって言ってたの。
I mean, it's gonna vanish the moment you leave, so...
時計。やだ。やだ。
We know he's from an AI planet and he had AI friends and parents. Is this from his background, or is this from what happened on the planet with the Gnosia? In fact, it happened. Did she leave the room? Did she not see this happening?
あれって？
ククルシカです。星の目で見ればわかります。あれはグノーシアなどとも違う、もっと別の 何か
Oh, that's interesting.
外側の美しさに目を奪われていると真実を見落としますよ。
I mean, to be fair, you have powers too, so what the fuck are you?
どういう意味だ。
I should probably say something like
この世
divine.
界線ではククルシカは人間で確定しているはずだけど。
Sure, but we think Otome and Stella are human too. Human doesn't mean human. Yes, that was Stella dying?
ゆり子様の反応が
Or
ありま
was
せん。
Stella already dead? I forgot.
ユリコが。
グノーシアから見たら僕の次に脅威だろうからね。彼女を守ろうとしないとは守護天使はよほどの無能だ。期待できないと言って良さそうだね。
グノーシアは人間
Yeah,
し
the
か
element
襲
of
わな
not
い。
knowing if the guardian angel is alive or dead.
グノーシアに襲
Scary.
われたステラ、ジョナス、ユリコが人間で確定。これに留守番のククルシカとレムナン、それと僕は人間で確定だ。残り9人のうち4人がグノーシアということか。
じゃあ今日も報告させてもらうぜ。昨日は
その前に提案させてもらうよ。シピはコールドスリープにすべきだね。
お、いきなり来た。
Rockio, please keep surviving. This is the longest I've had you,
エンジニア
buddy.
であると宣言した重道を人間と判定した以上、俺がグノーシアで確定だもんな。
確かにその通りだ。けど仮に僕が嘘をついているとしても君を凍らせた方が人間側にメリットが大きい。
わかりました、ラキオ先生。
Don't really love that you called them humans.
どっちかは当たりってことっすね。
簡単に言うとそういうことだ。
随分乱暴だな。みんなそれでいいのか。
悪いけど僕も賛成だ。
え？
もちろんシピが本物のエンジニアだとしたら申し訳ない。けど同じくエンジニアを名乗っていた重道が今回は早々にコールドスリープになってしまったんだ。残るエンジニアは君一人。
If I was in the group, I'd be asking everyone, what do you mean this
情報
time?
を自由に操れることになる。
This time was a very suspicious thing to set gap.
いや、
はあ、死人に口なしだってよ。アンダースタン？
でもかわいそうな気もするの。
乙女だよな。こんな理不尽ないと思うぞ。
どうか疑う理由がないと思う。その意見もわかるけど。
Wait a second. We didn't freeze anybody yesterday. Why didn't the ship fucking explode?
一旦保留にして見逃してくれ。
え、それは。
シャーミンだけ特別扱いってのはねえよな。
I'm upset. I'm upset. Why didn't the ship explode? We made the rule. We talked about it last loop.
カさんがいい方法があるって。
全員をコールドスリープに。
はい。
I said that in one of the previous loops.
確定しているククルシカさんとレムナンさんを管理者として残し、残りは全員コールドスリープにすればいいんじゃないかって。それもまた強引じゃね？
Now the guard roll is a thing.
理にはかなっている。
That's logical. I make it.
確実に全員コールドスリープになるからね。
説はどう思う？レビの取り決めをまた破ることになるけど。
でもこれは土下座と違って理にはかなっている。残る2人は人間で確定しているわけだし。
僕は気が進みません。
なんだ、反対なのか。
I mean, it's the only reason I would think that Levi would let us off the hook for not freezing somebody yesterday.
それを言うなら、お前も一緒に凍るのが筋じゃねえか。
なんでそうなるんだよ。うっぜ。そっちの猫に喋ってもらった方がいいんじゃねえのか。
レムナン、賛成してくれないか。
セツさん。
これは昨日ルールを守らず、シャーミンを許してしまった私たち全員の責任。
You know what I'm gonna say. I'm just gonna complain about the same thing again.
これしか収集する方法はない。
わかりました。
Are we getting like a new mystery role? That they're not human, but there's something worse? Why did you strip?
こんな展開もあるんだね。今までで一番穏やかな解決かもしれない。
Yeah, except for all the people who are dead now already.
わからない。多分私とユーリはルー
Is there gonna be like some sort of traitor role? That she's a traitor role and being one human and one traitor is gonna be a loss?
あと何度 こんなことを繰り返すんだろう。
Or Gnosia. The end credits broken? Yeah, okay, there's like 7 minutes left. I was like, this is a pretty quick episode. What the fuck happened? I love the subversion. Okay, SQ didn't make it.
間違いなくまたここに戻ってきます。だから
戻ってって何が？
To be fair, kind of wish you maybe left me in cold sleep. Would have been faster to die not knowing what the hell happened. I've seen plenty of sci-fi horror stories that start this way. Wow, you got the pipe. Well, see? She ain't coming back. Also, more than one pipe. Ah, damn it. Rockio, you never get a win. What are you? You guys told me that if somebody went on a murder rampage, Levi would stop it. Proof. Proof that shit. Guys, this is what I talked about. You guys told me this couldn't happen. Yeah, confirmed human, right? She's breaking through walls. I don't know you're safe in there. Also, Yuri just led him right to you. Yeah, literally just outside. Yuri fucked you. Yuri fucked you. That's not a great button to have. Just rip a hole in the, Best episode so far, by the way. Real horror movie vibe to this shit. Again, if both of them were confirmed human, I gotta be worried that he's one of whatever the fuck she is.
僕と二人きりになった瞬間、クルシカさん、急にコールドスリープになったみんなのこと。
あのククルシカは本当にククルシカなのか。
わかりませんよ。ただ。
I can't wait to go back to that board and see what it said she was. I'm assuming it said she was human, confirmed human.
ペット。はい。ひどい毎日でした。管理首輪をつけられて。自由に動くことすら許されなくて、だから逃げたんです。必死で新宇宙の果てまで逃げて。
Does that have anything to do with the AI thing, or is this some additive thing?
何十年隠れてもあの人は追ってくるんだ。僕をもてあそぶために。
君を飼っていたのがククルシカっていうこと？
違います。でも
Yeah, I would say they didn't look like the same person.
僕を見る目が、その笑顔が、もう嫌だ。
消失まで残り10秒。
Whose voice is this? It's not Levi. By the way, plenty of time for her to have gotten on this pod. Yeah, I was saying, they took out Levi. How are they not going to take this thing out? Horror movie shit. Okay. Just don't let us see it. I'm glad we didn't get to see Otome die. I didn't want to see Otome get killed by this. That's the lying thing, usually. Are you the Gnosia this time? Is new ending. Right? Are we in Mirror World? Is this a Gnosia ship and there's a couple of humans on board now? This one is going to require some breakdown. I was thrown from the very beginning, and I apologize, I have to talk over these things all the time, but you know, I'll have some notes about this. The new ending. Next time. So I'm automatically getting distracted by it. Like, what's going on? I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't want to see Otome as a... I don't want to see Otome as a Gnosia. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe this one's going to be whatever Kushra was is the new bad thing, and this is a world where we're all Gnosia, so being Gnosia is not inherently negative here. This is a world that everyone got infected. Everyone who got on the ship was Gnosia infected. And there is a secret human on board? Oh god, what was the name of that movie? I Am Legend. The old I Am Legend, or the basis for I Am Legend. Not so much whatever the Will Smith vehicle was. Where essentially he is a vampire hunter in a world of vampires. He is the thing that they're scared of. Who watches the Watchmen, if you will. I don't know why I'm always looking for the next time on. The show doesn't have any next time ons. That was a great episode. Somehow... Oh, sorry. When he's holding the thing, I now see that it has the two snakes. It's an Ouroboros. That makes sense, that the key would be an Ouroboros. Yeah, for some reason the episodes, I think we've had 2 of them so far, that subvert what we're all about, have been the best ones. Like I said, I thought there might have been a traitor in the midst, like maybe there's like a Gnosia supporter role or something like that. That's definitely not it. I think the implication therein is that if there was Gnosia, Kakushra killed them too. So that's pretty funny, but at the same time horrible. And like I said, I'm glad that we didn't get to see, we didn't forced to see Otome get killed. I do not want to see Otome get killed. She is fucking adorable. It'd be like watching a puppy get killed. I do not want to see that shit. Also, terribly scary. That is... Oh, God. Heavy Metal. If you've ever seen Heavy Metal, the Stern one, where Stern's running through the space station, being chased down by basically the Hulk, who's just ripping through everybody and everything to get to this guy. Oh, man. Yeah, that's obviously going to take... There's so much breakdown that I want to do on this, but that's where I automatically want to go back to the screen to see who was a Gnosia, and then I want to stop on that screen where all the cryopods have been ripped open, and there was already, I said, oh, it's the pipe, but there was another pipe already in somebody. I think that was the one going through SQ. Yeah, I want to see everyone who's dead there, connected to the board, because it seems to me that there might be some people missing. Yuri clearly got Gina killed. If he didn't just hang out there talking to her and told her what to do, she would have had the helmet on already. Like, button push, oh no, now I'm just floating in space. I mean, it would be horrible. But Gnosia Gina, in a previous loop, showed us that fully capable of handling that. Although at the same time, I don't know where you would go. I think that's probably why Yuri was saying get to the escape pod, because the escape pod would be at least some way to get away. Whereas you'd just be floating around on the outside of the ship, and there's no telling that Kakusha would just, like, punch through the ship, grab you by the foot, and pull you in or something. That seems like insanity is afoot there. Although at the same time, I guess if Levi's taken out, there's nothing that stops or to cause the escape pod to self-destruct or something. I'm still upset about the early part, about where they said, let's not freeze anybody. And then they did a warp, somebody died, and Levi didn't blow up the ship. But I guess there could be the element that Levi could have been messed with before we saw Levi get messed with. So maybe that's why Levi didn't do the self-destruct, that they were messed with from the start. I guess I'm going to have to make that my excuse, because I don't know why it wouldn't happen to begin with. Because we just, the previous one where Sha Ming first shows up, and we get the whole, we've got to vote for somebody, and then we go through looking for keys and whatnot because we get repressed to freeze somebody before the day is over. Oh, I don't know. What a crazy episode. Like I said, there's so much to break down here because we started day 3. That was already off-putting. And then just to have somebody say, and this is what happened day 1, and this is what happened day 2. We didn't get the back and forth. We need the back and forth to be able to guess stuff. I get now that wasn't important, because what was important was the reveal after the fact. But again, I do appreciate that this was literally everything I talked about so far. What if somebody was a fucking murderer? And I mean, technically, this is that scenario. I suppose something else is afoot, but that was literally it. What if someone's a murderer? Murderer scenario. What was the other thing? Sorry, there was another thing that happened here that was literally something else I talked about, and I can't remember what it was. I got hung up on the murder thing. Sorry, I'm just in a ramble now. I'm probably going to say for like a 5th time, so much to take notes on. So I think I'm going to wrap up like immediately because I need to come back with the notes for next time. So until next time, as always, I have been Theta. This has been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?